Michael is the father to my children now. Michael, we are a family now. His family is our family and our family is his family. And these Germans, they're just trying to come between us and they're trying to kick us off the ranch. And I'm listening to this tape, which is literally the exact opposite of what Janet had just testified to under oath. She's just testified I was being held against my will and I had to escape. And now we're listening to an unguarded, secretly recorded conversation with her less than 24 hours after it happened, where she says, I wanted to stay and they kicked me out, right? Why did Ron Zonen play? I've never understood why Ron Zonen played that tape. It's kind of mad. It's just a completely demented thing to do as a prosecutor. The only conclusion I can draw is that he knew it was bad and he knew the defense would play it. So he thought maybe if I play it, it would trick the jury into thinking it's good for the prosecution rather than bad. I don't know. But I mean, it was, in my opinion, it's one of the most powerful pieces of evidence in the whole trial, because this is not a bunch of defense witnesses coming in and testifying to impeach Janet Arvizo. This is Janet Arvizo impeaching Janet Arvizo. We are listening to Janet Arvizo in her own words at the time, telling the jury that what she's just testified to under oath was a lie, was not true. So this conspiracy charge just fell to pieces like a wet cake. It was a disaster. Almost every element of the conspiracy charge, from the, we were being held against our will, we weren't allowed to look at clocks, we weren't allowed to speak to people on the phone, we weren't allowed to meet anyone, it all was positively proven to be not true. So what you're left with, and when I interviewed the jury foreman, whose name was Paul Rodriguez, he said that one thing that the jurors all agreed on when they got into their deliberations, they realized there was something they were all agreed on, which was before the defense had even begun their case, by the time the prosecution had finished their case, they were all sure, beyond any reasonable doubt, that the Arvizos were lying about the conspiracy. So what you're left with in that instance is some molestation charges for which the only evidence is the testimony of two witnesses who have lied to you about every other element of their story.